your voice heard, everybody. Today is election day. You'd have to be on another planet to not know that by now. But right now we are taking live pictures from polling locations in Smyrna, along with Stoneham, Massachusetts, which is just a little north of Boston, as people perform their civic duty. Thanks so much for joining us on ATL Live. I'm Jobina Fortson-Evans.
And I'm Becky Sotero. If you're heading to the polls today, we want to remind you of a few things. Polls close at 7 p.m. tonight. You'll need to bring some form of identification, for example, a driver's license, ID card, a voter registration card with a photo, a federal military ID, or a U.S. passport. And tonight, Emory University's Political Science Department is hosting an election watch party to view the incoming results, and they're having a post-election forum featuring Ambassador Andrew Young tomorrow.
Yes, it's going to be a really big night there. But before we get to all of that, Emory University Associate Professor Dr. Zachary Peskowitz is joining us to discuss this incredibly tight race. Welcome back to ATL Live.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's get into it, starting with Georgia. We had record-breaking early voting turnout. Can you talk about the numbers, where they stand now, and how integral Georgia will really be to the results?
Yeah, so Georgia voters have already cast over 4 million ballots via in-person and vote by mail, which surpasses what we saw in 2020. We could have over 1 million voters today cast their votes, which would surpass total turnout that we saw in 2020.
Yeah.
And so, Georgia is one of those key 7 battleground states that is going to determine who wins the presidency. It has 16 electoral college votes, and those are going to be really critical to determining the winner.
Yeah, we couldn't have said it better. And we know both candidates have obviously been here quite a few times. So how is it looking in terms of how they're doing here in Georgia so far?
Yeah, so in terms of the polling averages, Trump has a very slight lead in Georgia, so something on the order of 1 percentage point. So, a little bit of an edge, but, certainly could go either way.
Yeah, so when we talk about things going either way, let's bring in how things are looking nationally. We had some interesting numbers come out of Iowa, which surprised a lot of people, even seems to have surprised the pollsters, that it appears Vice President Kamala Harris is trending a little bit better there. But just give us an overall picture, if you will.
Yeah, so it's kind of the inverse of what things are looking like in Georgia. So if we look at the polling averages nationwide, Harris has about a 1 percentage point lead. But it's important to keep in mind that it's not the national popular vote that's going to determine who wins, but the Electoral College.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be hearing this all day long, how tight this race is going to be. We know it's not going to be over after tonight, but can we look again at this bigger picture? Which states do we really want to have our eyes on? Yeah,
so the key 7 battleground states, of which Georgia is one, are Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and then in the north, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So those are the 7 critical states. Pennsylvania is looking like the very closest one, and that might be the key to how this all shakes out.
Yeah, okay, because we were talking
last night.
Literally knocking on doors herself. We saw videos of her doing that. What will be interesting, Becky pointed out that we won't likely know tonight, but there is a chance that we could know tonight. I think 2020 was the first experience for a lot of Americans of, oh, we have to wait to find out who's going to be the next president. Talk about the instance in which we would have to wait, what states would be involved there, and where we'll likely know either way.
Yeah, so some states are much faster at counting. So they're fast about it. They rely less on vote by mail. So I think the states to be watching tonight for a little bit reporting more quickly are Georgia, North Carolina, and Michigan. So I think that will give us a early indication earlier in the evening about what might happen. Whereas some other states are slower. So Pennsylvania has a little bit slower. They've tried to do some things to expedite it, but it could take some time, especially if it's very close.
Absolutely.
And then Arizona and Nevada are also slower states. So if it comes down to those states, it could be waiting a few days.
Pack that patience tonight, because we're going to need it.
Seriously. One more thing before you go, Dr. Peskowitz. For you, we know that this is what you do. You look at data, you look at how elections influence policy and so forth. If you want to leave anyone with a lasting note just about what our overall takeaways should be.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tight election, and so if you're interested and passionate about the candidates, go out and vote while you still have the opportunity and make your voice heard.
Okay,
absolutely.
There we go. Yeah, got my sticker. We went. We did it. Thank you folks so much.
Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.